When I was younger, I thought success came from strategy, intelligence, and hard work alone. I believed if I copied what rich people did, I could become like them. But life taught me something different, something nobody explained to me in school. Your emotions run your life more than your plans do. You can have the perfect strategy, the perfect opportunity, the perfect dream, but if your emotions collapse at the first sign of pressure, everything else collapses with it. I learned this the hard way. In my early days of building Alibaba, every day felt like a storm. People criticized me. Banks rejected me. Even friends told me, Jack, maybe this is not for you. I was not fighting the market. I was fighting my own frustration, my own doubt, my own fear. One night, after another rejection, I was ready to quit. I sat alone in my tiny apartment, staring at the numbers, thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I am not the guy. But then a thought stopped me. If I cannot control how I feel right now, how can I ever control the life I want? That was the moment I realized success does not belong to the smartest. It belongs to the emotionally strongest. The people who win are not the ones who avoid fear. They are the ones who manage it. The people who grow are not the ones who never get angry. They are the ones who redirect it. The people who rise are not the ones who avoid stress. They are the ones who stay calm inside it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I will become the master of my emotions, not their servant. And everything changed. Most people think they fail because the world is against them. But the truth is harsher. They lose to themselves long before life tests them. When I interview young entrepreneurs, I hear the same story again and again. Jack, I had a great plan, Jack. I was so motivated at first, Jack. I started strong, but everything fell apart. And I always ask one question. What happened to your emotions when things became difficult? That's when they go silent. Because the reality is this, people don't quit because the goal is impossible. People quit because their emotions become louder than their vision. Fear whispers, don't try. Doubt mutters, you're not good enough. Frustration shouts, this is pointless. And impatience screams, it's taking too long. By the time life actually challenges them, they have already surrendered internally. Let me tell you something important. The enemy outside can do nothing if the enemy inside is defeated. But if the enemy inside wins, even small problems will destroy you. In my early days building Alibaba, I had every reason to quit. Competitors were bigger, richer, faster. Investors laughed at our dreams. The media didn't take us seriously. But none of these things could kill us. You know what almost did? Our own emotions, panic, exhaustion, hopelessness. The world was not breaking us. We were breaking ourselves. That's when I realized a powerful truth. The first battlefield of success is emotional, not external. If you lose there, you lose everywhere. If you win there, you become unstoppable. This chapter is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. Before you fight for your dreams, you must win the war inside your mind. Most people believe they fail because they don't have a plan. But I learned something shocking in my early career. Many people fail because their plan is too perfect. Yes, too perfect. A perfect plan becomes a prison. It makes you rigid. It makes you overthink. It makes you fearful of doing anything that wasn't written on the page. You become a slave to the idea instead of the master of execution. I have seen thousands of students and entrepreneurs spend months creating the perfect plan only to delay action for one more day and then another and then another. They tell themselves they are preparing, improving, refining, optimizing, but secretly they are doing only one thing, avoiding risk. A plan gives them comfort, not momentum. Security, not progress. The illusion of movement, not real movement. And the funniest part, life never follows your plan. The market changes. People change. Opportunities appear and disappear in seconds. But people cling to their blueprint like it is some holy scripture. When reality doesn't match it, they panic, freeze, or quit entirely. In my early days with Alibaba, people asked, Jack, what was your master plan? I always laughed because we didn't have a master plan. We had courage, speed, and adaptation. We weren't trying to be perfect. We were trying to survive. Here is the truth. No one tells you. Your plan is making you poor if it stops you from moving. Your plan is making you poor if it hides your fear. Your plan is making you poor if it is protecting your ego instead of testing your ability. Success is not for the perfectly prepared. Success is for the emotionally flexible, the ones who act, fail, adjust, and try again. Stop worshiping the plan. Start executing the idea. When I was young, I used to believe smart people were the ones who succeeded. People with big brains, big plans, big ideas. But after years of teaching, hiring, and building Alibaba, I discovered a painful truth. Smart people fail more often because they overthink everything. Overthinking feels like intelligence, but it behaves like poverty. It steals time, confidence, and the courage required to act. Most people do not lose because they are weak. They lose because they think so long that opportunities die right in front of them. They calculate, compare, analyze, predict, doubt, fear, imagine, and worry until the moment has already passed. I met many young entrepreneurs who brought me perfect models, charts, projections, theoretical risks. They could calculate every possible outcome. But when I asked, so, when will you start? Their answer was always the same, soon. I need to think more. Think more? About what? The opportunity is already gone. Let me tell you. Overthinking is a luxury poor. Thinking people cannot afford. Rich thinking people make decisions. Try something. Learn from the punch in the face and keep moving. They know action creates clarity, not doubt. In my experience, life rewards the person who steps into the unknown, not the one who waits for the perfect certainty. Certainty never comes. Ever. Your plan is making you poor when it becomes a thinking exercise instead of a doing exercise. Your mind becomes a cage filled with what if, maybe, and not now. But winners shorten the distance between thinking and acting. They think once, decide once, move fast, adjust if needed, and keep going. Remember, overthinking protects your fear, not your future. One thing I learned early in life is this: people don't hide from success, they hide inside their plans. Planning feels safe. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But many times, planning is just a comfortable place to avoid the real world. I've seen this for years. Young entrepreneurs would come to me with beautiful pitch decks, long business models, and 10-year roadmaps. They worked on these plans for months, some even for a year. But when I asked them what steps they had actually taken, the answer was usually nothing. They were still preparing, still fixing, still polishing. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Comfort is expensive. Every day you hide inside planning, the world is moving without you. Opportunities are not patient. They don't wait for you to feel ready. When we started Alibaba, we had no luxury of comfort. No fancy office, no perfect idea, no perfect plan. We just started. And because we started, life showed us what to do next. Most people don't start because starting exposes them. It shows them what they don't know. It forces them to face rejection, mistakes, and reality. But the longer you delay action, the more painful the price becomes. Comfort becomes a cage. Planning becomes a blanket that keeps you warm and keeps you poor. Remember this: the world does not pay you for the plan you made. It pays you for the steps you take. Your plan feels safe now, but safety has a cost, and the cost is your future. I used to admire intelligence above all else. I thought that if someone was smart enough, they would automatically succeed. But over time, I discovered a harsh truth. Intelligence without action is worthless. I knew brilliant people. They could solve impossible problems on paper, craft perfect plans, and predict every outcome. Yet somehow, they failed. Meanwhile, mediocre people who made mistakes, fumbled, and lacked the polish of genius were winning. Why? Because they acted. Action is the secret ingredient most people overlook. You can have all the plans, all the calculations, and all the ideas in the world, but if you do not execute, if you wait for perfect conditions, you are simply preparing to fail. I've seen people refuse to start a business until they knew everything. By the time they were ready, the opportunity had passed. The world doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards movement. In the early days of Alibaba, our team was far from perfect. We lacked experience, capital, and even confidence. But we did. We acted. We learned. We adjusted. And through action, we became unstoppable. Your plan is not the problem. Your hesitation is. The more you wait for ideal circumstances, the poorer you become. Rich thinkers act in imperfect conditions. Poor thinkers wait for perfect ones. Remember this. Motion creates clarity. Theory creates confusion. Success is not built on plans alone. It is built on the courage to step forward, to stumble, and to learn fast. If you want to escape poverty, stop admiring intelligence from afar. Start moving, even if the steps are small. The world only remembers doers, not thinkers. One of the hardest lessons I learned was that your plan is not created in isolation. It is shaped by the people around you, your friends, colleagues, mentors, and critics. When I first started Alibaba, I thought my plan was my own. But I quickly realized that the doubts, fears, and limitations of those around me were quietly shrinking it. Every time I shared my ideas with fearful or negative people, they gave advice that sounded safe, logical, or responsible. Without realizing it, I was taking their caution as my own. My plan was becoming small, predictable, and poor-minded. The truth is brutal. Your environment controls your thinking more than you know. If you are surrounded by complainers, your plan becomes a map for survival. If you are surrounded by doubters, your plan becomes a dream deferred. I had to make difficult choices early in my life. I distanced myself from people who constantly panicked, complained, or resisted change. It was not easy, but I learned that protecting my plan meant protecting my environment first. Rich thinkers understand this secret. They curate their circle intentionally. They spend time with people who challenge them, inspire them, and act boldly. Their plans grow because the energy around them grows. Poor thinkers stay stuck in toxic circles, endlessly refining plans that never expand beyond the limited vision. Remember, your plan will never exceed the mindset of the people who influence it most. If you want to escape poverty, examine your circle. Ask yourself, are they helping your plan expand or quietly making it smaller? The moment I surrounded myself with doers, risk takers, and dreamers, my plans became larger, bolder, and unstoppable. And that is how small ideas turn into billion-dollar realities. I learned something early in life that changed everything. Your plan reflects your self-worth. If you believe you are small, your plan will always be small, safe, tiny, predictable. When I first started Alibaba, I planned cautiously. I didn't dream of creating a global company. I didn't think I could compete with giants. And because my belief was small, my plan was small, I settled for what felt possible rather than what was necessary to become extraordinary. This is the trap most people fall into. They let fear dictate the boundaries of their plan. They shrink their vision to fit their comfort zone. And they wonder why life rewards others while they stay stuck. Small plans attract small minds, people who will never inspire, never challenge, and never help you grow. If you want to grow, you must raise your identity first. Think bigger, dream bigger, plan bigger. I remember the moment I realized the link between identity and planning. I started believing that Alibaba could change e-commerce in China. I started believing that I could compete with international companies. Suddenly my plans grew. I began aiming for results that once seemed impossible. The size of your plan determines the size of your results, nothing else. Most people avoid big plans because they fear failure. But the truth is, failure is a stepping stone. Big plans force you to grow, to learn, and to act. Small plans only keep you trapped in mediocrity. If your plan feels safe, that's a warning sign. Your plan is making you poor. Ask yourself, are you planning to survive or to thrive? Your answer will decide your future. Everyone knows the story of Thomas Edison failing thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, but most people miss the real lesson behind it. Edison didn't succeed because he was naturally smarter than everyone else. He succeeded because he acted, learned, and persisted, even when failure seemed inevitable. If he had waited for a perfect plan, for every variable to align, the world would still be living in darkness. The light bulb would have remained a dream on paper. I use this story to show a painful truth. Planning alone won't make you rich. Your plan is a safety net that protects you from failure, but failure is exactly what teaches you the lessons no plan can. When I think back to Alibaba's early days, I see the same pattern. We made mistakes, many of them. We failed in ways that terrified us, embarrassed us, and almost destroyed us. Yet every failure taught us something essential, something a plan could never predict. Most people quit not because they are incapable, but because their plan gave them the illusion of security. They wait for certainty, clarity, and perfection. They think they are preparing for success, but in reality, they are avoiding it. Edison teaches us that action, imperfect, messy, and often wrong, is the engine of wealth. Plans are traps when they prevent you from moving. Here is the hidden truth. The rich plan through action, not analysis. They don't fear mistakes, they embrace them. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create results in imperfect conditions. If you are waiting to perfect your plan, you are joining the long line of people who will never leave the starting line. Your plan is making you poor because it protects you from the very failures that would make you rich. Remember, success belongs to the doers, not the planners. Act first. Learn fast. Adjust constantly. That is how ordinary ideas become extraordinary achievements. One of the most dangerous traps I've seen in business is fear disguised as strategy. People think they are being smart, careful, or responsible when they overplan, overthink, and delay action. But if you look closely, most of these strategic plans are just fear in a suit. fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of losing what little they already have. It masquerades as logic, but in reality, it keeps them frozen. When I was starting Alibaba, I watched friends and colleagues create perfect plans that never moved. They studied every detail, predicted every risk, and waited for conditions that never came. Meanwhile, the world moved on. Opportunities passed. Competitors acted. I realized that courage is the real strategy. Fear will always hide behind your spreadsheets, projections, and checklists if you let it. The moment you strip fear from your plan, your ideas suddenly feel lighter, more powerful, more alive. The rich understand this secret. Action is the cure for fear. Plans are tools, not shields. A plan born from fear leads to stagnation. A plan born from vision leads to growth. I have seen countless talented people remain poor because they were strategic but paralyzed. They thought they were protecting themselves, but in reality, they were chaining themselves to inaction. You must ask yourself, is your plan protecting you or is it protecting your fear? Courage doesn't mean reckless decision. It means acting despite fear, learning fast, and adjusting constantly. Every billion-dollar success I've witnessed began with someone saying, I will try, even if I might fail. Fear disguised as strategy is the silent thief of wealth, creativity, and opportunity. If you want to escape poverty, you must expose fear for what it is and move anyway. Remember, the world rewards movers, not planners. Strip fear from your plan, act with clarity, and wealth will follow the bold.